Yo, what is going on? Y'all, it's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing. And we are repping the squad. Of course, today we're going over an update for my Blue Eyes deck. A lot of people have been asking me for it with Link Karibo included in the extra deck. I was fortunate enough to get one from my teammate, Cheeto, to basically make the deck how I wanted to make it. I've been basically tweaking around with this deck a lot and trying to get it more competitive without playing all these other cards like expensive hand traps that a lot of people don't want to play in Blue Eyes because they're like, oh, I want to keep it budget, which is totally fine. Long story short, I'm trying to make it not only to counter the Pendulum strategy, but to be able to have a successful matchup against other decks. And so, obviously, this card is just one-sided in the Pendulum matchup. I already said this a long time ago. Actually, I said it right around, like, December when we heard that Electrum was coming out. And we knew that, like, okay, Pendulum Magicians are going to be tier 0. And I was like, look, Spirit is, like, the answer to the problem. Like, Blue Eyes is the counter to that deck. But also, I just wanted to make it more consistent. So the way we're running the deck now, of course, we're trying to turbo out Blue Eye Spirit Dragon as soon as possible to win the Pendulum matchup. I feel like this card and Azure Eyes and all kinds of other cards that are afforded to this archetype make this deck just so powerful in this format at the moment. This format in particular, Blue Eyes, is really, really strong. So I'm going to show you my main deck and we'll explain a lot of my card choices as we go along. Starting off with the Dragons, we play 3 alternative and 3 Blue Eyes. You should not play less than 3 of any of these, but that goes without saying. And obviously that's just, there's no reason to even explain why you play 3 of these. Like, you play 2 copies of Dragon Spirit of White. Now, while you have to play 3 of these because they are so important and intricate focal points of the deck, you don't really need to play 3 copies of Dragon Spirit of White because he's not a great card to draw. But I feel like you should play multiples because the issue with the Blue Eyes deck is it's so turbo, it's so aggressive and fast-paced that it burns through targets and it inherently loses to itself in grind games because you'll have very little targets left in deck. Like when you're playing Pot of Desires, right, and you banish your last 2 dragons in your deck and your White Stone of Ancients has no targets during the end phase. Stuff like that. So you still want to play 2, but you never want to draw it. And this card helps out a lot. Just being able to summon it and banish spells or traps, it helps you out in so many different matchups, including the Pendulum matchup, but just in general. Banishing true Draco spells and traps, enabling them to not hit the grave so that they don't pop anything that you control is really, really strong. So this deck is really strong against true Dracos, and it's powerful against Pendulum Magicians. Pendulums and Dracos were the 2 decks that I wanted this deck to be able to beat. Trickstars are walking apart because they can't get over a Blue Eyes without a scapegoat, so we weren't worried about that deck. They're cute, though. Then we have 3 Sage. Sage is such a powerful card because of the targets that we're playing for him. And also, if you can't make a Link monster, use him to sack off your extra monster in your monster zone. Your monster in your extra monster zone, send it to the graveyard, summon a monster from deck, and then occupy your extra monster zone with something else that you wanted that suited this situation. Really powerful for that. And obviously, he just searches out your targets. Searches out your Veiler, searches out your Catsith, your Stones, etc., etc. Such a powerful card. We have 1 copy of Master. He is the MVP of my deck. Let me double check something. Okay, cool. He's the MVP of my deck, and he's actually my favorite of the level 1 light tuners that the Blue Eyes archetype got later on. Not the Maiden. She's, you know, she's older. But the newer ones, he's my favorite. I really like him a lot. This card is so absurd and one-sided. I like being able to add back Effect Veiler from graveyard, add back Fabled Catsith from graveyard, pitch her, or use Veiler again on my opponent's main phase, and also get him engraved immediately as quick as possible so that I can Monster Reborn my Blue Eye Spirit Dragon from my graveyard to my main monster zone and have that monster just there as a problem, preventing Pendulum Magicians from playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Until they get over this card. And if he can't be destroyed, your Purple Poison's not going to be deal with him, and if he has Return of the Dragon Lords protecting him, you can't attack over him, so you can't Pendulum Summon, so you just make Electrum and pass turn, which is really, like that's really fine, that's cute. So I love Master for so many different reasons. He also, like Sage, clears your extra monster zone if you are unable to Link Summon, or you feel like you just want to save it, because I play so little Links in my extra deck. Then we have 3 copies of White Stone and Ancients, and 1 Legend. I finally got the super rare of this card, and this card is really important because it is the +1 that this deck can actually search out. +1 is really important because the only other generic +1 you can play is Pot of Desires, but Pot of Desires is very risky in this deck. While you will never really banish like 3 alternatives or 3 stages or 3 stones or like all 3 of your Return of the Dragon Lords, like it's still like you have so many good targets that you need for like your following at least turn 2, right? Like Desires can sometimes kill you, so this is a much more important +1 in the deck simply because it's not as risky as Desires. And I'm not saying Desires is bad, because obviously you guys know I love Desires. I played in so many decks. Then you have one effect villain and one cat sith. These are your, like, these are sometimes your win condition, but these are also your interaction on your opponent's turn that add layers of disruption on top of the Spirit Dragon that you have. You have Spirit Dragon plus the traps, and this, like, you're going to kill a Pendulum Magician player, and you're definitely going to kill a Draco player. You're going to win the duel against Pendulums or Dracos, and those are, like, two of the most, powerful and dominant decks right now, and my deck is literally just catered to beating those two archetypes. Because I feel like anything else I'm not really going to struggle with, because Blue Eyes is still Blue Eyes, and nothing on the Blue Eyes archetype has been hit on the Forbidden and Limited list. So it's still at full power. So these are just insane. Search targets off Sage, and Master adds them back from the graveyard to hand so that you can use their effects again and again and again. Really strong. I like Cat Sith and the interactions that she gives you in the deck. That is it for the monsters. I'm not playing Galaxy Soldier in this list because I wanted to keep it as pure as possible and as consistent as possible. Galaxy Soldier is supposed to unbrick your hands, but this deck is playing so that it doesn't have bricky hands. And your worst, your bare minimum, like the brickiest hand ever is just Summon Spirit and pass. It's totally fine though, you still have a Spirit. And this deck's trying to turbo Spirit as quickly as possible. For our spells, we're going to start with the starters plays. These five spells are what you want to start up your combos. Melody and also Dragon Shrine. These get your targets engraved and also start up other engines at the same time. This is not once per turn, which is what makes it so absurd. And also, sometimes if you're in a good position, this can be your ash bait, because when you have like the combo, right? Like if you have one of my favorite combos, which is just Summon Sage, Search Out Master, right? And you go for Melody, pitch a Blue Eyes for cost, and then they ask you if it's Blue Eyes or Spirit Dragon, you can just normal your Master, link him into Link Karibo, use him, sack off the Link Karibo, and bring back the target that you summoned off of this, and you'll still have a board because you have the beater even though you got hand traps, and it allows you to make something out of nothing. So it's just a cool interaction that you can make when you get hand trapped, because like naturally when your opponent Ash Blossoms this, you can almost lose the duel because you're left with 3 other cards in hand, and it really sucks sometimes. So just keep that in mind. And also trade in and 3 cards of Consonance for our draw power. Now, because I opted to not play Desires in this list, I needed to maximize on the draw power that's afforded to this archetype. I really do love cards, and I love Dragon Shrine. Like, these are 2 of my favorite spells in this archetype in particular. These are not archetype specific. Well, these are not Blue Eyes specific cards, but they are Dragon archetype specific cards, and I like these a lot in Blue Eyes in particular because you get a lot of advantage off of these spells if you get to resolve them. So really, really good card. You don't have to play 3, but I do recommend you at least play 2 because it as a 1-of, you rarely ever see it. And this is a card you actually want to see because like Melody is not always going to be pitching your stone, and you want to get your stones in the graveyard, your legend and your ancients, to get their effects off. So this is an alternative way to get them in the grave without wasting your Melody, because sometimes you want Melody to pitch Master or to pitch a Blue Eyes or to pitch a Cat Sith, just different options. So like, this is just another discard outlet for them, and it's draw power, and none of your draw power is once per turn, so you can cycle through your deck excessively. And then we have the revival cards, which Blue Eyes is infamous for revival. We have 3 returns. This is one of the win conditions, because when you have your board established, they cannot board wipe you, they cannot purple poison you, they can't negate and destroy your cards, they can only negate them, and your dragon will stay. So this is just insane, so powerful. Having indestructible boards is just nice. 2 Silver Scry. It is a hard once per turn, which sucks. That's why I play 2 of it. I feel like 1 is incorrect because this card comes up a lot, and also you want to see it like in your opening hand, and sometimes you want the second one for the follow-up. Really, really strong. This, and if you have like this face down, plus like the Wing Wind Blast with Cat Sith and Spirit Dragon, you have a really strong opening against Pendulums and Dracos. Then you have 1 for 1. You don't have to play it. Most Blue Eyes players don't even play it, but I like it for the flexibility. I'm also getting my Master because I love getting Master engraved first turn for the follow-up play next turn or first turn. Master helps you a lot when you get hand trapped. That's why he's one of my favorites. He actually is my favorite. So 1 for 1 is good, and it's Ash Bait. Then you have Monster Reborn and also Soul Charge, which is literally like you're going to win the duel if you play this card right, because you'll make a board that Pendulum Magicians wish they could make. I'm sure they can make it. Then we have Traps. Let's see where we are with time. Okay, not too long. 3 Torrential Tribute. I like this card a lot better than the Solemns because it just hits everything, including a normal summon, whereas like Warning and Judgment are the only ones that hit normal summon, and Strike doesn't hit a normal summon. And like a normal summon and then skill Purple Poison can sometimes be a problem. So like hitting normal summons matters sometimes, but this really punishes a lot of players like Pendulum Magician players who like to just set up all these crazy boards. In the middle of it, they're trying to like get out get 2 Astrographs on the field and get like 2 Chronographs on the field, and they're trying to get Jekyll King on the field and then overlay those into negators, like once they summon that, you just torrential everything, and you have cards like Azurize and Return of the Dragon Lords to make this literally Raigeki on your opponent's turn. That's why I like playing 3 of this, because this in Blue Eyes, it's so unfair because Blue Eyes can play this comfortably without it punishing you, but punishing the player. You can even use this more aggressively by acting as a Raigeki on your turn. If you have this and it wasn't necessary on their turn, you can just literally activate Return of the Dragon Lords, summon a dragon back after it resolves, flip your torrential, blow up their field, and banish the return, and you just attack them directly for game. Really strong trap. It's at 3. It's not once per turn, so why not? Then we have 3 Phoenix Wing Wind Blasts. This makes the simplified game states even more obvious who's going to win the duel, which will be the Blue Eyes player who flipped this, pitching the Fabled Cat Sith, and tagging out on end phase with Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, bringing out the Azurize, putting a card on the top of your deck so we know what way you're going to draw. We know that all that you have in your hand and all that you have in your field, this is what you have to work with to get over me on my following turn, because I'm proceeding to OTKU. So it's really strong. I like seeing these traps in multiples. I want to ideally see 1 of each, but I don't mind if I see 2 of this, and I don't mind if I see 2 of this, because this will almost guarantee that you're going to win the Pendulum and the True Draco matchup, which what I've been stressing the most, because it's the 2 decks that naturally can beat any deck. Pendulum Magicians and Dracos naturally can beat any deck just purely off of their own playstyle without adding anything extra, anything, you know, additional engines or text. All the other decks, we're not really too worried about them. Extra deck is 2 Spirit Dragon and 2 Azurize. Azurize is so insane. This card is broken. Like, Azurize is so strong. I even want to play 3 of this card. Like, I really do. I wish he had Blue Eyes in his name so I could just put him back into my extra deck with Winestone of Ancients. He's so powerful. And then the 2 Spirit, you just play 2 because Winestone of Ancients can put him back into your extra deck. And also, I love using Master to summon him back from your graveyard to your main monster zone. You play 2 because summoning the second one for his tribute to special summon from the extra deck is still clutch. So 2 and 2 is working for me, and the extra deck's so tight we couldn't even fit cards like these and him, but we already have the Trap Phoenix Wing Wind Blast to do what he does, and then I don't have Galaxy Eye Cypher Blade, so I felt like I can't play this package until I get Cypher Blade because I'll be missing out on a lot of the potential of the Galaxy engine. Then we have Cloud Castle to literally just summon back Azurize, turn his effect back on. Like, one duel, I use Master's effect, shuffled, special Blue Eye Spirit Dragon from the graveyard to the main monster zone, synchro summon for Cloud Castle and defense, use his effect, brought back the Azurize, use his effect, made all my dragons indestructible, overlaid these 2 into this bad boy right here, True King of all Chlamydia, and won the duel. Really, really powerful. He's just here to make True King of all Chlamydia, and also for the interactions where he can Monster Reborn back your Azurize and make everything indestructible again, and then depending on how your board shapes up, you can link those off in the decode if you don't want him to clog your extra monster zone. He's just a really, really spicy tech that Blue Eyes players do not run. And that's totally fine. I like to keep my goo. Then we have Crystal Wing because you can make him and you bring him back off of Return of the Dragon Lords after he's properly synchro summoned. So you maximize on this card, like his advantage, his value that he gives you. He's a really, really strong card. This makes your Blue Eye Spirit Dragon more than just a singular weapon. It makes him a double-edged sword because on field he has 3 effects. He says you can't special summon more than once. Like, literally, you can't Pendulum Summon or Soul Charge. Then he says he can negate graveyard effects. And he also says, whenever I think I'm in trouble, I'm going to transform myself into a different problem, which will be more of a thorn in your side, which could be this. Or also, you can just bring this bad boy up. In the Burning Abyss matchup, you negate a grave effect, tag out onto this, put the Dante back. He doesn't get his graveyard effect. You can just win. This helps out in so many different matchups. This card just not destroying really helps out a lot. And the interference on your opponent's turn, like when you have like this, Fabled Cat Sith, pitches for cost, pop, put something on top of your deck, then tag out, bring this, get rid of another card. Oh, it's still not enough. Torrential Tribute. Next turn, I'm going to kill you. It's really, really strong. So that's it for your synchros. Well, I'm sorry, one more. Ancient Fairy to make the Crystal Wing easier. If there was a way to make Crystal Wing just like with the Blue Eyes archetype without this card, I wouldn't play it because I really want this to be another rank 8 or something like that. And then we have True King of all Chlamydia, Titanic, Felgrand, Lancelot. Heliopolis is here because he helps you to get a lot of the cards you need engraved and just blow up the field, punishing opponents. This is like to help you on your follow-up play and your second turn push. He's a really, really nice card. The flexibility is just there. I really like him a lot. You don't have to play him. Like some of the best boards you can make under your Soul Charge, you can just literally go into Decode Talker, do the synchro summon for your Cloud Castle, and then bring out your Calamities, and whichever rank 8 you want to pick, because you're already gonna have Blue Eye Spirit Dragon summon off the Soul Charge. You can just pick another negator like Titanic Galaxy, which this just makes sure that, you know, the board is just more optimal, or you can just do like anything really, like, but you always want to have Calamities and Blue Eye Spirit Dragon because they're just too insane next to each other. And then for the only 2 links that I play in my extra deck are Decode and Link Karibo. Let's see how we're looking on time. Okay, cool. It's not too long. So Decode is obviously for your Soul Charge play. You can also do Sarius Skull Dread, but I don't like to use the monsters that I Soul Charge to make the Decode. I actually link all the monsters off into Decode, and then I do the Soul Charge, which makes it a lot stronger. Like, you'll do the Spirit Dragon, you know, you'll link out Spirit Dragon and the alternative or whatever you want for one, plus the Sage or whatever else is on the field, make your Decode. And if you can't do it that way, obviously you'll just tag out your Blue Eye Spirit Dragon and then Soul Charge and make him. But naturally, I like to make him first and then Soul Charge because it puts more targets in the grave for the Soul Charge. And Link Karibo is like literally one of the best plays in this deck. In the simplified game states, or if you get hand trapped and your opponent stops you in your tracks, you can normal any of these bad boys, right? Link them off into Link Karibo, get a play off of them. Make your trade-in life, get an in-phase stone effect, or also when you go master, like this happens, right? Trade-in and also Melody are ashable. So if you do trade-in or, you know, Melody, for example, right? And you pitch one of your Blue Eyes monsters, and your opponent Ash Blossoms it, oh dang, I just, you know, that's like a bad play. So like, let's say for example, we have a Blue Eyes monster in grave because we, you know, got it into the grave with any of our effects, right? And then we did like Melody, for example, right? And we did Melody, and we went like Melody, pitch a stone for cost or something like that. Like, you can normal summon your master, use his effect at the stone back if you want to. You don't have to. And then you'll link him off into Link Karibo, use his effect, shuffle him to the deck, send Link Karibo to the graveyard, bring back your Blue Eyes monster from the grave, and you can have a play off of that, depending on how your hand's shaping up. Basically, Sage equals this, and then equals this, and this will come back anyway. So it's really, really strong. I just like just having a 1-card play. Like, Blue Eyes naturally don't really have like a 1-card combo, and it's not really like a big combo, but it's still a 1-card combo. So Link Karibo is honestly best in Blue Eyes, and I think like Infernoids and also what do they call, Mermails can play this card really, really good. And that's the deck profile, you guys. Hope that you enjoyed it. I already told you it's countered to it's basically tailored to beating Pendulum Magicians and Dracos, and it does that very, very good. So if you're looking for a budget deck that can OTK and not have to worry about taking too long in the duels and going up to like time and turns and stuff like that, play Blue Eyes. You'll have fun. Like, I've been telling a lot of my teammates, we should just all go to a tournament, a regionals, and every single one of us should just play Blue Eyes just because it's so good, like I'm telling you. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make good choices, don't hurt your brain cells. You will definitely be hearing from me soon, and Yahweh loves y'all. Peace.